it's Betsy, and today we have a fun video. We're going to be doing our November Roundup review. Now, I know a lot of other creators do this, and I think this is a good idea to be able to go back over all the products I've used, because I buy a lot of makeup. I use a lot of makeup, and I think that this is a great way to kind of go back and tell you my thoughts on them and if they're worth it. So as you can see, this basket is full and it's heavy, and we're gonna go over the products that are in it. Now, one thing that I do to be able to keep track with all of the makeup that I've used is I have my calendar here, and I write down what I used what day, and then looking at it kind of helps me remember my thoughts about it. Because even though I like most eyeshadows, like when I put them on my eyes, when you go to compare them to other things, that's where it can get a little bit confusing. So I wanted to do this so that way we could kind of talk about my thoughts all together as a whole. Now, the first palette I used in the month of November is the Walhalla 2, which looks like this, and I actually used it some in October. This palette retails for I think $38, and I adore this palette. You can get a very neutral look from this section over here. There's lots of pretty blues, there are some pressed glitters, but the star of this show for this palette is this shade right here, which is called Fake. It is a multi-chrome, and it is gorgeous. As you can see, it does a beautiful transition-y shift. So this is a palette I definitely recommend. Juvias Place has great quality eyeshadow, and I think it is phenomenal. So let's move this basket down so I can kind of dig in here. Next palette I used is the Kylie Collection. This is the Wild Collection. Now I bought the whole collection. The eyeshadow palette is just a basic warm neutral palette. It is nothing to write home to mom about. So I don't think that this is the most unique palette. I'm happy that I have it in my collection, but it is definitely not the most unique thing. Now, the thing that was my favorite from this collection, now I do have more products, are the shadow sticks. I really like the formula on these, and I think that they work beautifully. So these were my favorite thing, but you know, everybody's each their own. So you see those two right there, those are the shadow sticks, and there's more in this basket from that collection, and if I find it, I'll give it like a review. But I wanted to kind of get through some of these other products because I mean, my goodness, this is a lot of makeup. Next up is the Natasha Denona Trio Chrome palette. Now, this palette is mainly mattes, which I think the formulation of the mattes is great. I wish they would have done this in a smaller palette, more their $65 range. So that's what the Trio Chromes look like. So as you can see, they're really pretty. But I think that especially whenever you're looking at it next to the Juvias Place, the Juvias Place is much more metallic, and I think much more reflective. So I think it's good, but I would wait till if they ever put this thing on 50% off, that's when I would purchase it. I purchased it from Natasha Denona, and I had a coupon for 25% off. So that didn't hurt as bad, but I would not recommend paying the full $129 for this palette. And I love Natasha Denona. It's just, her metallics typically are really great, and I like the multi-chrome liquids much better than I do the multi-chrome powders that she has in here. Just my personal opinion, but yeah, I would wait till that thing's on 50% off. If it goes 50% off, I would scoop it up in a heartbeat, but anything more than that, no, I wouldn't recommend. Next up is the Sugarpill Capsule Collection. This is the 3C, this is the black edition. As you can see, it has a very moody color story in here, and there are some unique shades, like this color right here is really, really pretty. See how pretty that is? So I like this. I think Sugarpill's formula is really good. Now, is it my favorite palette of the month? No, it's not. I think it's good. And I don't know if at this point good is the middle of the road. You know, you see what I'm saying? And as I said, I love Sugarpill, but that one is probably not my absolute favorite. Well, no, I know it's not my absolute favorite. Next up, I had a candle video, but you know, I love my candles, so that's it. Then we have the Huda Beauty Naughty palette. And I think this palette is really pretty. I think it is a great nude palette. This is what I look for in nude eyeshadows. I like Huda's formula, but there is nothing super intriguing about it other than the slippery shade. So it's kind of like an eye gloss. So you can kind of see it on my hand. And it has a little bit of pigment from those little balls in it. And that shade is what made me purchase it. Did I need this? No. I have the Huda Beauty Nude Nudes. I have the mini Nude Obsession, the little 9-pan in the dark. So I could have really went without this. I think it's a good palette, but again, it's kind of like the Sugarpill where it's kind of middle of the road. I would purchase it if it's on sale, which I did get it for 20% off, but it's not my absolute favorite. Then I had the Sephora VIB haul. Now, there are a couple of things I did want to talk about from that is not like a separate video. And that is mainly a couple of foundations that I got to try. So first off was the Girl On foundation, and I have used this almost every day for a couple of weeks. I didn't use it today because I wanted something more full coverage. This is definitely a true medium. It does have like that skincare smell to it. It is a little light for my complexion. This is the N035N, and I bought this during the Sephora VIB because Yachty recommended it, and it is a beautiful foundation. I really like the consistency of it. It smells like expensive skincare, which is another reason I like it. But it is on the pricey side. Now, the foundation that I really liked that I purchased, which is shocking, is the Huda Beauty. This is the foundation stick, and this is the shade 330 in Buttered Pecan. So as you can see, this foundation is a tad bit dark for me, but I can make it work because as you can see, it works better with like the rest of my body. But the consistency of this foundation stick is amazing. It blends out like a dream. So I'm just gonna blend it out. You can see how well that covers. It's a good medium coverage, and it doesn't smell, which most of Huda Beauty's foundations smell. And I don't like that because her full coverage foundation, the liquid one, I loved the consistency of it on my skin. I couldn't wear it because the fragrance broke me out. And I've used this several times, and it is really, really good. I have enjoyed this foundation. So I think that this one is better in my opinion than the Girl On, but I still am happy that I have the Girl On in my collection. So just so you know. Next up is my Clionadh singles. So my husband pre-ordered these for me. I love Clionadh. They have some of the best multi-chromes. I am wearing these on my eyes today. I am wearing this shade right here, Embroidery, and then I'm wearing this shade right here, which is Glint. But these are phenomenally pigmented, and I have a lot of these already. But I think these are my absolute favorite multi-chromes. Look how beautiful that is. They just perform, so I'm trying to make sure that doesn't fall, but they just perform. Look how sparkly that is. It's everything that I want in a multi-chrome. It's got enough color to it, it's got enough sparkle to it, it's got enough shine. The performance of these are amazing, and even though they're super duper expensive, and they are reopening today, that's kind of another reason why I wanted to talk about these, but these are my absolute favorite multi-chromes. Hands down, love these. Now I do have some Davina coming in, so we'll see if that changes, but so far, not. Okay, next up is a great Great palette. This is the It's Freaking Bats palette by Being in Shroud. It looks like this. It has an amazingly unique color story. This shade Handbook right here, look at how beautiful that is. In the shade Dairy, these shadows are super soft, super pigmented, perform super well. And I think this is a standout palette. Now it is still for sale for pre-order. So it is a limited edition, but until the people stop wanting it, that's when they're gonna restock it. Shroud has a beautiful formula. Their mattes are pigmented, they're soft. I adore the Shroud Cosmetics formula a whole lot. And I love having this palette in my collection because it is so super unique. So this is a definite, like, if you're into indie makeup and you're into colorful makeup, I would definitely look into picking this palette up. I think it is gorgeous, gorgeous. Okay, next up is Alien Cosmetics. This one they're thinking about bringing back. This is the Alien Cosmetics and Serendipity palette. It looks like this. It has another one of those beautiful multi-chromes in it. And again, you see this, I think this palette was $35. See how beautiful that is? It just outshines the Natasha Denona. And it's so inexpensive. So that's why I would recommend other things like these. And like this is another multi-chrome. I mean, look at those colors and how shiny and beautiful. This is so pretty. I love the greens. I love the reds. I'm so happy that I purchased this, and I will let y'all know for sure if they bring this back. But this is a great quality because I loved the quality of this palette so much. I did order their Alien Cosmetics in Gem Casket, which is like a blue red palette for Christmas. So I was super excited to get that. Next up is the Ruby May Cosmetics, the Peppermint Mocha palette. This is a palette I think I paid $19 for. I bought this one and the pumpkin one, or the spice latte palette, at the same time. This is another palette that kind of surprised me. The quality is really good. Now the shimmers are quite a bit drier than the like Alien Cosmetics. Shimmers are what get me, but the palette performed great and it's inexpensive. So I really liked this palette. So, but it's not number one. I mean, the color story is pretty, but it's not the most unique. Now I do like the greens and the silver down here, like that gunmetal metallic that's here, but this top section really isn't super unique. You know, red, brown, that's kind of like all over the place. So what's next is the Baby Yoda palette. I'm holding that upside down. This, again, Colourpop has a good formula. It is not always my favorite. I really like this shade, Precious Cargo, for an inner corner highlight. Well, I might not want to put it on my wet hand. Let's swatch it with the other hand. I'm a lefty, so you'll always see me swatch. So that is the Precious Cargo. But I love the palette altogether as a whole. I love green eyeshadows. It performed beautifully. They just brought this back and it is only $16. So I really have enjoyed the Baby Yoda formula and I'm happy I have it. Now, next up is this is the Raw Beauty. Am I missing one? Maybe. Okay, so yes, I did miss one. Hold up. So during the first of the month, I did a video using, I had to go back and look, the Rare Beauty, the Confident Energy palette. I bought both of these. Now I think that this is a companion palette. I think it performed beautifully. I love this green shimmer. As you can tell, I'm attracted to greens. Do I think this is anything to write home about? No, but if you can get it on sale, I think it's a good palette if you like shimmers. And I used it with the Pure Raw Beauty Christy collab, which looks like this. Now, Christy is known for her mattes. She loves using mattes and not a whole lot of sparkle. And this had some really pretty brights and some really pretty neutrals in it. But honestly, In fact, to choose one collab, I would have chose the Colourpop at Foresight. Now this is much more my speed. I love all these grungy fall tones versus the bright shades that are, the brights that are in here. So if you look at these kind of next to each other, yeesh, you can kind of see what I mean. These are much grungier tones. These are much brighter. Now, don't get me wrong. I love a bright palette, but this is just more my speed. So this is super inexpensive. And if they restock it, I would tell you to jump all over this. This is a great, great palette. The whole collection I loved. But again, I love Colourpop's Gel Cream Eyeliners. They work really, really well for me. So just so you know. Next up is actually a palette that's really surprised me that I really loved, which is the BK Beauty True Beauty palette. I've actually used this on myself a couple of times and my mother-in-law because it is such a great neutral palette. Now, the thing is with this palette is it is just a neutral palette, but it's a great staple palette. This would make a great Christmas gift if you're a neutral lover, or you have family that is a neutral lover. The shadows perform well on my wrinkly eyelids. This shade Kate is the standout from it. That purple color is gorgeous. It is a unique purple too, but I really love this palette and I would definitely recommend it 100 times because I think this palette would work for either beginners or people. I mean, you see what I'm saying? It's, to me, this is an easy palette. This is the easiest palette that I purchased this month to work with. And that says a lot. Like, I just feel like, you know what I mean? Some palettes can be over pigmented. Color can be daunting. This just works. So I really enjoyed working with this palette. Okie dokie. And again, it's not because of anything other than I do love working with it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think it's so good. Okay. Next up is the Melt collection. So we got lots of things in here from Melt. These are the cream lipsticks. These are really good. They're matte, so they're a little drying, but they are really, really good. And I did 3 videos using the Melt collection because, one, I paid a crap ton of money for all these products and I wanted to use them quite a bit. The mascara was not my favorite. The brushes were not my favorite, but I loved the cream lipsticks. These electric trip paints were one of my favorite standout items of the collection. And so we really, really like those. Now, did I leave? Where is the other? So I have this palette right here. What did I do with my other palette? I don't know. Oh, here it is. So here are the 2 palettes. Now, I really liked working with both of them. This is the Waiting Room palette. This is my least favorite out of the 2, and that's just because even though these colors are really, really pretty, the red and the grays, this one speaks to my soul more because y'all know I love grungy greens. Purples, again, are one of my favorite colors to use on my eyes. So if I were going to recommend one that I like more, it would be the Recently Deceased, but they're both stunning. And to me, they're a little bit trickier to work with because, like with this Melt formula, whenever you're working with these mattes, you want to apply the shadow to a sticky base and then kind of blend the outside edges of it. It works the best that way. So just so you know. Okay. Oh, next up, oh, this is the Kylie liquid lipstick. Hated the Kylie liquid lipstick. Whoosh. The Colourpop glosses from the Raw Beauty collection are awesome. And I like the Super Shock shadows as well, but I will probably forget that I own those. I always do. The Kylie highlighter was super pale for my skin tone, and it is kind of powdery. Like, I don't find it to be terrible, but it's just not my favorite highlighter formula. There are so many highlighters that are better. Now we're gonna talk about the Charlotte Tilbury stuff that I bought, because there are some things that I love. The Hollywood Flawless filter is amazing. Like, I don't know what she does, but all of her complexion products I loved, except for the concealer, but the concealer was a little dark for me. The highlight wand, the contour wand, the pressed powder, the loose powder, all of this stuff was absolutely amazing. Like 10 out of 10, which kind of shocks me that I actually really loved so many products from her line. But I mean, that's luxury beauty for you. You know, a lot of times you're going to like the way that it performs. The setting spray, I think it does a great job. I don't think it's something that is super needed. The lashes, the mascara, the Pillow Talk mascara, I really do like. Oh, one thing I wonder, Nadia gave me this for Christmas and she gave it to me early. This is one of the YSL lip balms, and this is Rouge Lips Shine or Rouge Sculpt Shine. These are really good. They're expensive, but they're good. The Booby blush I really liked. The lip products, again, something I really liked. The eyeliner, you know, I could take it or leave it. It's pretty expensive for what it is. The whatever eyebrow stuff is okay. I did like the big highlighter. I thought that it performed really, really well. And the bronzer I really liked. So I'm super happy to have all that. But the eyeshadow palette, you know, especially for $75, this to me is not worth $75. Not in the least little bit. It is just not my favorite formula. I thought the shades were pigmented enough, but like, especially for that price range, I expect more from the shimmers. Like, they're not super duper shiny. Like, you see what I mean? Like, that's a shimmer. That really isn't super shimmery. You know what I mean? Like, it's okay. It is not the best. So, I am almost through. Okay, next up is the Adept Plain Jane palette. And now this is an all shimmer palette. It is gorgeous. I love the way these perform. They're nice and soft and shiny and pigmented. Like, let me do that on the other hand, because again, I just wiped it with a makeup wipe. You can see that there are beautiful multi-chromes. Now, I will say this. Okay, the Adept Cosmetics formula is beautiful. I don't like it more than the Cleona. And this palette will be $62 if you pre-order it. I do love the formula of it, but I don't like it as much as I do the Cleona, if that makes sense. I think that the quality of the shadows are super great. But again, the Cleona I like more. But I am glad that I have this in my collection. I do like having things in palette form. See how beautiful? Now, there are some shades in here that are better than others. This works beautifully as an inner corner highlight. Like, I feel like a lot of these shades, I think what is lacking in these for me is there isn't a lot of base pigment. So you see what I mean? They are semi-transparent, whereas with the Cleonas, they're not. And I think that is what is throwing me off. They layer beautifully over other shadows, but I prefer the Cleonas where they do have more of that base pigment, because I feel like I can use it all the time. Okay, so that is all the products that I used in the month of November. So this is my November monthly review Roundup. Let me know what your favorite products were for the month of November. December will probably still be a whole lot. I think I'm gonna slow down my palette buying a little bit because I want to get some more use out of my collection. I like trying out so many different things, but I feel like too that sometimes I can't use everything that I've got, if that makes sense. So that's kind of where I am on that. So if you like this video, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button right down below. And if you hit the notification bell icon next to it, that will notify you when I post new videos, which for the month of December will be 7 days a week all the way through Christmas. But I guess that's it, so we'll see y'all later. Bye.